This program contains adult content.
Is there a God?
Big atheist.
Really?
What, am I an idiot? Come on.
That yes, it would be nice if you could throw your sins and your responsibilities on someone else. But it's not true.
It looks like far-left lunacy.
I don't believe that it's true that religion is moral or ethical.
You don't need to follow anybody!
It's not human intelligence!
If someone doesn't value logical consistency, what logical argument are you going to give them that will demonstrate that they should?
Welcome to the Godless Rebelution. Today is Friday, April 20th. It's 420 day.
Oh, yeah.
And just 3 days until the rapture. You might not even hear this episode because we could all be dead by the time this goes out.
Well, we'll still be here.
Or you could be raptured up in heaven with J-Rock.
Nobody listening to this show is going to get... We're going to stay here and get raptured.
But never fear. If you go there, Avicii may meet you on the other side. He died today. 28-year-old DJ. It's unfortunate. Apparently, he liked to party a whole lot, and it caught up to him. They haven't released details on exactly how he died yet, but he's had a history of...
Natural causes.
He was 28. He's had a history of partying way too hard and chronic alcoholism, and I think he had his gallbladder removed and some other things a while back, and retired from touring nationally because he just couldn't hang anymore at the age of 28 because he'd partied too hard, and decided he was going to start his tour again. And now he's dead, people. That's terrible. But I'm Ryan Duffy. And
I'm your bearded ginger host.
Ryan is on his way here. Apparently, he's running late from I don't know if he was doing video or just photo shoot for Make-A-Wish, but he's apparently on his way.
It was so nice of them to let him finally do that. finally make his wish and have it realized. Yeah.
So what have you been up to?
I have been kind of busy. My parents that are in, we talked about this before the show, but, in failing health, are now trying to figure out a way to move closer to we three children, who all live in this state. And they're 1,300 miles away. So
how did that happen? Your parents used to live here in Utah, right?
Uh-huh.
And then they decided, fuck it, we're going to move to Minnesota?
Well, no, my dad went there for a job, but we were all adults and sort of established here by then. So they left following that, and then we stayed here. So, but all that's over now. So, he's been retired for a while and stuff, but yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out how exactly I'm going to be able to help him do all that and fund it and everything.
It's weird because your parents are older than my grandparents, I think.
That could be.
I think my sweet little LDS grandmother is like 78, something like, no, she's not even that. She's early to mid 70s, I think.
My parents are 71.
Yeah. So she's probably just a touch older, but not a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad, but they're going to be moving back here then?
Depends on if I can do it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can help them move? Or...
Yeah, if I can get the time off that I need, if I can get the right, get the flight out there, do the work that we need to do, sell the stuff that he needs to sell, fund all of that stuff, and then drive back.
Do they own a home there in Minnesota?
No.
Oh, okay. That'll make that easier anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just packing up all of their shit and moving it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sucks, man. Parents getting older and having to take care of that. And, I mean, you've got a new baby at home, so you're taking care of the baby. You got parents now that need taking care of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I hope that all works out. I don't envy your position at all.
Oh, well, thanks. Also, my in-laws have started a family challenge that I'm a part of the text thread for.
Oh, boy.
Which is 75 days to listen to all of Russell Nelson's General Conference talks.
What do they hate the family? Is this?
I guess so. Yeah. I actually thought about doing it just because, one, nobody would ever expect me to do it.
Yeah.
And two, because knowing what they know about me, having had at least a couple occasions of discussions about it in the hospital, turning down blessings and so on and so forth, to include me in a list like that is to invite my analysis / questions about the content, because
yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't want to know what I think about it, then don't ask me to think about it.
Right.
Don't include me in this kind of stuff. So they know you're not active in the church. Do they know that you're an atheist?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, at least a good portion of her family knows. As for her mom, exactly, I don't know, but they might just think I'm anti-Mormon. I don't know, but because that's a big LDS thing.
Oh yeah,
he's just anti-Mormon.
Yeah, if you're not active in the church or any other church, then you're anti-Mormon for sure. Especially if you were previously active and now you're not, and you ever say anything bad, well, you're just anti-Mormon. You're just who hurt you? Who hurt you? Who made you so sad and angry? Yeah, that's passive aggressive too, right? Because they know you're not active. Some of them know that you don't believe in an invisible sky wizard. And so, yeah, to include you, that's really passive aggressive, I think. And kind of shitty.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's well intended. It's just coming from a place that is, I'm 100% right. And so the more people I can get onto my side, then obviously that's better because I'm totally right. That's where it's coming from. So it's like, it's condescending in that way where it's like, well, it doesn't really, I mean, I know that we have a difference of opinion, but that doesn't matter because, you know what I mean? Like there's a little bit of that in there too, which is,
yeah.
I don't know, which is why I was thinking, well, maybe I should just fucking do it. And then, cause right when the message was first sent, there was like this one-upsmanship going on about like, one of them was like, oh, I'll have a half-page summary of every talk or whatever. Cause one of them was like, well, cause he was like, so her father-in-law was like, everyone who does this gets a steak dinner on June, whatever. And so then someone's like, oh, I'll have a half-page summary. And then somebody else was like, I'm going to go there dressed as President Nelson. And then Danielle's brother's like, all right, I'm out. This sounds fucking weird.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. And he went on a mission and everything. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Is he still active in the church?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He and his wife are just much more like, not assholes. Well, the rest of her family isn't assholes either, but like just they're not like very strict about it. Like they don't really give a shit if other people are like, they don't feel like it's necessary to make other people do it. And I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. So that's going on.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. So we've missed you last week for sure. I attended the wake for Lindy at the Sun Trap. That was a lot of fun.
Sad to hear about that.
Yeah, the wake was interesting. It was good to see a lot of my friends and to be there to help support Connie, but we primarily hung out in the outdoor tent that was out on the patio at the Sun Trap. I love gay bars though. They're the funnest bars to go to. I have the best time at all the gay bars. So it was good to hang out with everybody, have some drinks, think about Lindy, tell stories, that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's just a really unfortunate thing that she's dead at such an early age. And my heart breaks for Connie. I know she's having a really hard time with all of it, but I guess that's life. And it's weird to me too, because Connie is still believes in a God, I think. Mm-hmm. I mean, she does still pretty much. she's come a long way toward being, very accepting of atheists. Of course, she has a lot of atheist friends now because a lot of her friends are intelligent people and have realized that it's all a con and a scam and is total bullshit. But she's still in it for some. Ryan's here.
Hey.
Hi, Ryan.
Dog in the room now.
That's fun. Bye, Oliver. Hi. I'll let you sit down.
I made it.
I thought that was going to be a lot longer for sure.
Oh, yeah. We weren't sure where you were shooting, so we weren't sure if you were in Salt Lake or.
Oh, yeah, I was right down on 3300.
Oh, yeah, not far at all.
That's why I said I'm 10 minutes away.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I must have missed that message. Yeah. So what were you out doing?
Filming stuff for a little girl that's going to be dead in like 2 days.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
What was her, it was for Make-A-Wish?
It was like a Make-A-Wish type thing. And then there's also another group called, Mascot Miracle Foundation, who help grant wishes to kids. And they came out and were all riding on motorcycles and
they have a genie?
Oh, yeah. Well, the little girl loved sports cars,
mm-hmm.
exotic sports cars. So literally within 36 hours, they got 200 people to show up with Corvettes, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Porsches. Like, it made a little bit of news. The Ferrari dealership in Vegas was getting ready to send up Ferraris for people to drive.
Oh, wow.
So there's a shitload of people showed up.
Wow.
Like, we filled up 3 parking lots and then the street, and then we just took over State Street. Literally, we had all lanes filled on State Street with fucking cars and motorcycles. I lost my hearing, I think. I was hanging out.
What little you had left.
Yeah. I was hanging out the bed of a pickup truck with a camera filming Ferraris and shit zooming past, and the little girl inside of a Lamborghini, and they had people lined up the street with balloons and signs. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
I had no idea this was going on.
I got called at 11 o'clock this morning. Say, hey, Duffy, can you get down here and film? I'm like, what time? Like, can you get down here at 2? I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. Then it was, oh, we're not picking her up until 6. Like, oh, okay.
So no pizza for you tonight. There's still some upstairs.
I had a shitload of cupcakes. I was walking by the table grabbing cupcakes because people just donated a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah. I think that came out as cupcake.
Cupcakes?
But
yeah. It's where I watch someone else eat them.
Like I'm a little hot there.
Okay.
Yeah. What else you been doing over the week?
Fucking Oz got stabbed by himself.
Oh, fuck, that's right. How's he doing?
He's doing good. He's back to his energetic self, trying to make sure he doesn't rip out the tube and stitches. And
he's got a drain in.
Yeah. The funny thing is, Sarah sent me a message saying, Oz got a little scraped up at the dog park. And I'm like, well, send me a picture. She's like, it stopped bleeding. And I'm like, no, you need to go to the vet. Like, that's deep. Like, he needs stitches.
Yeah.
And I don't want him to get an infection.
Yeah.
She goes there, and apparently there's a wound inside, like a channel.
Oh, wow.
So
like he really
he ran into something, like stabbed himself and pulled it back out.
Any idea what it was?
No. It was at the dog park.
Huh.
And there's a wooded area there, and yeah.
Wow. I'm glad he's all right. I saw him chewing on a tennis. What was that? A tennis ball?
It's the one he can't destroy, and he keeps trying to kill it.
The one thing he hasn't been able to destroy so far.
He got to stop squeaking, but he can't rip it apart.
Yeah. I also saw your sexy fucking legs while you were painting.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So I don't know if our listeners know, but Duffy doesn't like his legs.
I always wear pants. And I just happened to sleep in shorts, and that was the day I kind of woke up like, all right, let's start painting.
Yeah, I guess I never realized that, but yeah, you do wear pants a lot.
Yeah.
All
the time.
Throughout the summer, everywhere. Yeah.
Even when we went camping, you're like, it's fucking hot out here. You're still wearing pants. I'm like, yeah, I wear pants. Kind of my thing.
Did you bring your swim pants?
No, I don't. I think I put on swimming trunks when we went on the boat.
Did you? Year. Did you?
I don't remember. I didn't get in the water because I'm like, this water's fucking cold. Fuck you guys.
Yeah, I think the only time I've actually ever seen your legs apart from Sarah posting the picture of you painting was you said you had tattoos on your leg one day when you were over here, and I was like, oh yeah, what are they? And you're like, oh, I don't like to show them. I don't like my legs. But I think I saw your tattoo.
Oh, okay.
And I think that was part of the reason why you don't like it is because of one of the tattoos.
Oh, my legs are, I'm just lanky and have bleach white legs. And
Well, it's because they never see any fucking sunlight.
And when they do, they turn into a lobster.
Have you always just worn pants?
Pretty much. I think probably from like middle school on, I think I've just always wore pants. I don't remember wearing shorts that often. Except for like soccer.
Yeah.
Sports.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Huh.
I'm a pants guy.
That's very strange. I also have been arguing online with a local Utah politician named Morgan Philpott, who served in the state legislature for a while, made a run for governor, and I don't know, did some other local Utah politics stuff. And he's this super right-wing fucking
asshole
libertarian dude who's just a dummy. Like, no, he's actually really, he seems to be fairly intelligent, but he's just so far fucking right-wing, religious, conservative nut job about different things. He made this post about a book that was that's being used in one of the local schools for ninth graders, and it's a mandatory reading assignment. Apparently the book, and in his post he even talked about it being a dystopian future and talking about teens, you know, that there were subjects in there like teen suicide and bombing and murder and stuff like that. And it's like, dude, you said in your original thing that it's a dystopian future. His whole thing is that he thinks that the government is indoctrinating our children with things like this. And it's like,
indoctrinating to what?
To thinking that abortion's okay, premarital sex is okay. But like, and I need to post another reply to him because we've been going back and forth. But yeah, my next reply will be a very long one because he's just so fucking wrong on all of this. Like, in his original post, he calls it a dystopian future. Like, it's a bad thing. That's what they're talking about in the class, is this is a bad future. This isn't how we want our future to go. And he thinks that they're indoctrinating children to be accepting of this. And I'm like,
yeah, he probably wants us to teach about Jesus in school.
And he doesn't seem to know what the word indoctrination fucking means.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even understand how that could be.
Right, because they read the book and then they have critical discussions of it, you know, to explore everybody's thinking on it and why this is bad. And
yeah, they're not forced to sit there and learn from the book and recite passages from the book and praise the book. Yeah, I mean, the whole point of indoctrination means that you tell somebody they have to accept something uncritically, right? It's just word comes down from on high that this is the way it is, and so you have to believe this. Don't think about it. Don't ask any questions. This is what you need to believe now. That's indoctrination.
Yeah, and it's all right here in this book about the dystopian past.
Yeah. So I'll be arguing with a politician more this week. Let's move on to some news items and stuff. Yes?
Yeah, I made it just in time.
Yeah, all right.
Hi, this is Dr. Hector Garcia, author of Alpha God, and you are listening to Godless Rebelution.
Hey, so that went well. Started out a little weird, but things really picked up.
Why did you do that? Why did you say that?
Say what?
Richard, you just told a room full of tech people that I'm a Christian.
Oh, okay. But you are, aren't you?
Yes, but I told you that in confidence. I said between you and me. I'm not openly Christian. Thanks a lot, man. You just outed me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dee Dee. I didn't... Okay. Should we hug? I can not make it weird this time. We could...
I'm sorry, Richard. You know that my default position is blind support of whatever you do, but this was not your best moment.
Guys, it can't be that big of a deal, right?
Why should it be? America loves Christians. Muslims are the enemy.
Well, that's true in most of America, but not in Silicon Valley, sadly.
Sadly?
You can be openly polyamorous, and people here will call you brave. You can put microdoses of LSD in your cereal, and people will call you pioneer. But the one thing you cannot be is a Christian.
I find their theology to be illegitimate, and it's clear that they are the source of the majority of the world's problems. But fuck, Richard, even I wouldn't just out a Christian like that.
Yeah, it was kind of fucked up.
Rejoining the Godless Rebelution podcast now.
What is 420, Ryan?
It's the day Super Troopers 2 came out.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Are you bullshitting me?
No, I'm not bullshitting. Super Troopers 2.
Has there been a Super Troopers 2?
It came out today.
I was thinking, I was thinking of the space one. What's the Space Troopers?
The Space Troopers. Like
movie?
Spaceballs?
No, it was from the 90s.
Starship Troopers?
Yeah, Starship Troopers. I think that's the one I was thinking.
They
of.
might have made a second one, but I guarantee it didn't do very good.
Was this one called Super Toopers?
No, but they're Canucks.
Bunch of Canadian peoples.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that, but I don't know why 420 got its name. 420.
It's Hitler's birthday.
Is it really?
I'm pretty sure.
April 20th? Let's see. I gotta look that up.
Okay.
So people just get high to forget about Hitler?
Hitler birthday. I wonder what kind of pictures that would bring up.
April 20th, 1889.
Wow.
Yeah.
Boy, now I feel like maybe we can't celebrate 420.
I know. It's like we're
taking it back. We're taking it back, Ryan.
He died on April 30th. 10 days after his birthday.
Well,
smoked too much.
Hope you had a happy birthday, Adolf. That's a name you never hear kids having these days.
Well, there probably are a few, but their parents are assholes.
I saw one today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But the job that I have, with the job that I have, I go through
a lot of assholes,
a lot of names every day. So, yeah, I saw an Adolf.
Oh, wow.
He was 50 though. So,
Adolf Hitler or the guy that you're talking about?
No, the guy that was talking about was 50. He was not like a young kid.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe his parents had that name. It's a family name, and
they decided to give it to him 20 years after the World War II was over.
They like Germany.
Yeah, that's
yeah, they could have been pro Germany.
Yeah, they could have been pro Nazi party.
Yeah.
Probably just goes by Dolph in real life. Like Dolph Lundgren.
Is his real name Adolf?
I don't know. That's a good question.
So.
God damn it. Now I got to look that up. Let's see.
I don't think his real name is Adolf because that would be fucked up.
Adolf Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren. I don't even know if he spells it with an F or a
Gren.
No, it's Dolph with a PH. I wonder.
Hans.
There we go.
Hans Dolph Lundgren. And he's Swedish.
Yeah.
But the Swedes were
neutral.
Not exactly great during that period either. And since. Anyway. Well, and we talked about Vinci dying earlier. He's a 28-year-old DJ. You weren't here.
Yeah, I don't know my DJs.
He was a 28-year-old Swedish DJ. He's the one who
I didn't know he was
he did
Swede J.
Yeah, he did the remake of shit, I can't think of the guy's name right now. Wake Me Up When It's All Over.
Wake Me Up, Buttercup.
No.
Wake Me Up When It's All Over?
Oh my
God. Are you talking about Wham's Wake Me Up Before You Go?
I did swear one of the guys at the ride looked exactly like fucking Steve Aoki. Like, I'm looking at him, I'm like, are you fucking Steve? Like, he has the hair, the squished nose, he dressed like Steve. I'm like,
who's Steve Aoki?
Yeah.
He's like the billionaire DJ from fucking Vegas. Like, he's probably one of the most famous DJs in the world.
And Dan and I have never heard of him.
Yeah.
This is the...
Oh.
This one. This is Vinci.
Okay.
But it's not like he remixed this song. He's a DJ, so he's popular for his remixes and stuff.
Wait,
like
but
that.
he did do that song?
Yes. Yeah. Avicii. What was I saying? Vinci. God damn it. Avicii.
I was thinking like Da Vinci.
Yeah, it's Avicii. Sorry.
Yeah, I still don't know the guy.
We have a DJ who listens to the show who's probably gonna want to pummel me after she hears this because I just keep fucking up. You know, a fuck up that I realized during editing for the last show that nobody has mentioned. Like, you didn't notice it. None of our guests have noticed
What
it
did we do?
for however many episodes I've been doing it. I had the date wrong on our document. I still had March as the month. And so during the last episode, I said, it's March 13th.
Didn't even notice.
Nobody apparently noticed except me during editing because nobody said jack shit.
Did you go in there and dub April?
No.
That
would have been
April
funny.
13th.
Hey, welcome to the Godless Rebelution. Today is April.
So why is 420 called 420?
What the fuck? I was going to say, what the fuck was I talking about?
I'm trying to bring you back on track right now.
Maybe I've been celebrating 420 and I had a hard time. My short-term memory is gone.
Asshole.
This is from the Metro in the UK. It says, rejoice, smokers of weed, or just continue to comfortably sit and marathon watch Netflix with a bucket load of snacks. Today is 420, aka the only worldwide holiday in celebration of the joy of marijuana. But what is 420? Why do we celebrate it? And what do these specific numbers have to do with weed? First off, the easy bit. 420 refers to April 20th, written the American way with the month first and the day second. Fucking Americans.
I know.
It's widely considered to be an annual day of marijuana joy, marked by weed-themed festivals, brands doing food offers with a weed-themed twist, and plenty of smoking.
Well, wait, I want to stop for a second because that whole thing about putting the month first, that's how we say it too. We say April 20th. We don't say 20 April.
In the military, they do.
Yeah,
a lot of the
sometimes
time.
like, hey, 20th of April.
Or they'll.
That's like a lot of documents be like 20 April 2018.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the military does it the way apparently those Brits do.
But usually that's only if you write out the month. It's when the month's written out, it's always second on the paper. But when I always do like that, just the numbers, it goes the other way around.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Now on to the history of 420. Buckle your seatbelts. People think 420 refers to a secret police code. I'll be real. This is exactly why I thought, or what I always thought 420 referred to. This is not me. I'm reading the article, people.
Yeah.
And it seems to be what most cannabis fans believe when it comes to the day. People claim that 420 is the radio code used by police to describe catching anyone smoking weed, which is dumb. I don't like that's a pretty easily figured out thing. Like,
well, I mean, all their codes are pretty easy to figure out. You just go online and look up their codes.
Yeah. And so weed smokers took over the code for their own reference and made 420 their special weed smoking day. But actually, the 420 code is actually used for homicide.
Ooh, that's a little, very dark.
It's dark.
Wait, I thought homicide was 187.
Depends on the state.
Well, now you've got us all confused, Ryan. Because you said you can
look it up.
And if you can to want.
But you gotta look up for each state, because each a lot of states have different, like the whole 5150 thing. That's California's code for psycho.
Oh. Huh.
Other states might have a different code for the same thing.
You mean a 187?
Yeah.
People also think 420 is the number of chemical compounds in cannabis, but that is not true.
Yeah, there's way more.
There are also theories that 420 comes from a Bob Dylan song.
That seems plausible.
Yep. Some geniuses have noted that 12 times 35 equals 420. And 12 and 35 happen to be the numbers referenced in Bob Dylan's song Rainy Day Women. Number 12 and 35 foot. Wow. Bob. I feel like Ron Burgundy, like whatever's on the screen, I'm just going to fucking read it. Bob Dylan also chants, "Everybody must get stoned" in the song, which adds to this theory's power. But here's the truth, as far as we know. 420 is all down to a group of students.
Them damn kids.
This, according to the internet, is the most credible story out there on the origins of 420, as told in its entirety to the Huffington Post. Back in 1971, 5 students at San Rafael High School in California would meet at 4:20 p.m., right after doing their after-school sports, by the school statue of Louis Pasteur to toke up. It became a tradition, and the group, who called themselves the Waldos, began using 420 as a shorthand for smoking weed. This spread, 420 became known as the perfect time for smoking weed, and the number 420 became synonymous with marijuana. Whoa.
It's like it's the first thing to go viral. No.
How do you celebrate 420? Simple. Smoke some weed on April 20th at 420. You can also just smoke weed, as long as you're living somewhere where it's legal, obviously. Or just my throwing it out there. If you're doing it clandestinely in your home or somewhere else or anywhere where you're not going to get fucking caught. And so,
or do something stupid.
Yeah. And of course, at 420 on any other day of the year, we've had the wonderful Mr. Forrest Shaw. I'm pointing at the empty chair because that's where he sat when he was in studio with us.
War.
He was on an episode of the show. Fuck, it's been
that was one of the debate shows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like a year and a half or more than a year and a half ago. Maybe almost 2 years.
This is during the primaries.
Yeah. But Forrest joined us for one of the episodes, and he is a cancer patient. He has stage 4 prostate cancer and is honestly very surprised to still be around and kicking.
Yeah.
But when he was on the show, we talked about this a little bit. He's a big advocate for legalization of marijuana because he uses it as part of his treatment to handle the pain of having the cancer, nausea. There's a variety of things that he uses it for to control the symptoms that he has with his prostate cancer.
Well, almost everybody I've heard that uses marijuana that has cancer says the marijuana effects of that are way better than the pills they give you.
Oh yeah.
Like, cause those pills just like knock you out. You can't do anything.
A lot fewer side effects.
Yeah.
But it makes you a criminal where it's illegal.
Yeah.
Which is fucking stupid that you can be put behind bars for a plant. But yeah, so I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people who partake, and I know a lot of people in states around our state who will send things to other people in this state.
What?
Or will visit relatives in those states and come back here and deliver things to people in this state to help them celebrate recreationally or to help them with other things that they've got going on. If they have a hard time sleeping, if they have low appetite, if they're nauseous, if they're, a wide range of things that people would use this for, or if they just want to get fucking high and giggle their butts off.
Yeah.
That those people will bring those tasty treats or little vape things or oils or whatever back for people. And I don't know why it's such a big fucking deal, because it's much less harmful than alcohol. It's much less addictive. It's just a good thing, and it should be legalized all over, I think.
I love the comment where they're talking about the legalizing recreational marijuana in Colorado then and went over them trying to get a dispensary there. And it was a cop said, "I'm a cop from Colorado. Guess how many marijuana-related incidences I've responded to in the last year? 0. Guess how many alcohol-related incidents I've responded to in the last year? I can't count them.
Way too many. More than I can count or tell you. It's silly to even try to track it. Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, when you get drunk, you feel like showing off and acting like a jackass and doing a bunch of stupid shit, and you think you're fine to drive and all of that. And when you're stoned, people are like, "No, man, I'm not fucking going anywhere. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to drink something because my mouth is really dry and I'm going to munch on something and just veg, man."
I think Robin Williams actually did a sketch on that where he's talking about being on different drugs.
Yeah.
Then he gets marijuana. He's like, "Marijuana, I just want to sit there." If you go, "You want to go somewhere?" It's like, not really. I'm good.
I'm fine right here. But yeah, I know a lot of people who partake, and they're all good people who use it sometimes recreationally, sometimes to help them sleep, sometimes to help them with pain management. Helps a lot of people with a bunch of different things. So it seems silly that doing that makes them technically a criminal. But I did see that Schumer, not Amy Schumer.
Well, we know she's for it.
But what the fuck is his first name?
Chuck. Yeah.
Chucky. Chuck is going to be introducing, along with Bernie Sanders, I think they did introduce legislation today to decriminalize marijuana federally.
Yeah.
Which would be awesome.
Now, is that just decriminalize or actually changing its controlled substance labeling?
I believe there were three parts to their legislation, that it would decriminalize it federally, it would
change its control status.
Change the status from a Schedule 1 to something else.
3.
And
at least, yeah.
And then to also have prior convictions for possession expunged from people's records. So,
and I've seen that come up where they're get rid of the prior convictions, and I agree with the way they've done it before. Where if you've been convicted of a non-violent crime without a weapon that marijuana was involved in, it gets expunged. But if you're involved in a violent crime and marijuana was just an accessory on it, that doesn't get expunged.
Yeah,
because
why?
Because of the violent nature of the crime. Just because there's marijuana involved, there's also, a violent, someone might have beat the shit out of someone and had a marijuana charge. The marijuana charge ranks higher than the assault charge. So they hit him with the hardest thing they can get him with, which is the drug charge, put him in jail longer than for assault.
I totally disagree.
But
why?
Because if we decriminalize marijuana, which it never, in my mind, it should never be illegal in the first place. It certainly shouldn't be jailable, and it absolutely shouldn't be more of a punishment than an assault. If it is, then maybe we need to look at changing some of the other punishments for some of those crimes. But if it's decriminalized, it's decriminalized. You give them the assault for the assault. If your whole goal is to make sure that everybody you prosecute gets maximum sentences and everything all the time, fine. But I don't think that's the way to do it. But if assault is the big deal, give them the assault charge, make them do the time for the assault. But the marijuana it's not illegal anymore, right? So
yeah, but I mean, you can make a point that they were still breaking the law at the time. I mean, would you advocate for somebody who is who previously ran like a drug cartel where all they did was sell marijuana, but they were selling it by the
truckload
by a truckload, and we're making money hand over fist doing illegal actions, and of course along with that there's going to be assorted violence, intimidation, racketeering, all of that other stuff that comes with it. Should all of that go away too? Like
I'm not saying get rid of all that stuff. I said keep the assault charge. So you would keep the racketeering, you'd keep intimidation, you'd keep any of the other still crimes, any of the violent things. Of course you keep all that.
Oh yeah. Well, and maybe I misunderstood or misheard then, but I thought that when Ryan was talking about it, that they would expunge the records of anybody who didn't commit a violent crime if it's marijuana related.
Yeah, that's the way I've seen them done. Like other places have said, yeah, if it was just marijuana and there's no violent crime involved in it, expunged, gone away. But if you had if it was a violent crime with marijuana involved, then you're fucked.
So in those instances, did they keep the charge for marijuana on there as well as the violent crime?
I don't know about this because I heard about this case because when they're fighting to change the law, there was a guy in Washington State where it went recreational. And the guy was in jail as he was a small time dealer. He got caught with a pound of weed on him, but it was his third strike. Every single one of his 3 strikes was non-violent. It was just having weed on him. But since it was his third strike, he was getting life in prison.
Yeah.
And then Washington went legal recreation. So they're like, hey, can this guy fucking get out now? And I think the decision was, since it was a non-violent crime, there was no guns involved, you can go. Because now what you did is no longer considered illegal, so we're not going to keep you in here for life for a nonviolent crime.
Unless the marijuana charge just happened to be the one charge that got them the most bang for their prosecuting buck, right?
Well, with that guy in that one.
And then they go, oh, well, actually, since all we want to do is just make sure everyone gets maximum for everything, we're going to keep the marijuana because there was violence too. That's a whole nother problem.
It is.
That whole thing about charging people multiple times and then getting the worst one you can on every person. That's a whole nother problem.
There's a lot of old school hippies that are sitting in jail who are very anti-violence, anti-gun, all that stuff, sitting in jail just for fucking weed.
Yeah.
That's why this guy was. He was an old hippie that was selling weed.
But my point is, if you're going to decriminalize it, then you decriminalize it, right? You don't go, oh, well, this guy gets to get his life sentence commuted, but this guy still has to do 6 years because if we decriminalize it for him, then he'd only be doing 4. What? That's fucking stupid.
Well, it might be that way, but the only thing
stupid.
I know when they're talking about it was if it was a violent crime, you didn't just get to go free.
Well, sure, because there's other charges.
They might have dropped their sentence and said, "Hey, we're going to we're just going to do the assault charges and this violent crime charge."
Yeah,
but we'll still get rid of the marijuana charges.
Yeah,
it might be that way.
If somebody kills somebody and is also high, and they go to jail for life for murder, and then they get
they're life for murder
plus 20 years or whatever it would plus 2 years for marijuana, and then they decriminalize marijuana and they say, okay, well, you're not charged with that. He's still in there for life for the murder, sure.
Yeah,
of course.
I mean, you see a lot of times where someone will be convicted of a crime. They say, well, there was THC in his system, but he's not being charged for being high. He's just being charged for the crime because maybe they didn't find any weed on him or whatever, any drugs. I think what's his name? The sports guy that killed the dude. That was
Aaron
Hernandez. They kept bringing that up in the trial case. Like, there was if we found marijuana at the scene that had his DNA on it. We know there's THC in the system, but
he
didn't get
raped the marijuana.
Oh yeah, it's a little tricky, but it can be done. But yeah, he didn't get a drug charge on it. He just got the murder charge.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, fuck the drug charge. We ain't even going to consider that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good move. I think it's a good move in the right direction to decriminalize it, to take it off of the Schedule 1, and to expunge the records of people who have had their lives ruined by this. If there's no violence along with the criminal history or whatever, I think that's all fine and good and should be done.
And if it goes legal, I think you'd solve a lot of issues with the violent cartels, because now it's like, well, fuck. They can just grow it themselves and just fucking do whatever they want now. So, guess we're just pushing heroin?
On to cocaine and heroin!
Which I think they've been making that turn because, to get the same amount of money of heroin on the street versus marijuana, that's a big difference in the package size.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like bales of marijuana versus, hey, I'm going to take just a small chunk of heroin over and cut it up even smaller. And because you can't
much more concentrated.
I never heard of anybody cutting marijuana.
Yeah, you can with other herbs and stuff.
Will they though?
Yeah. But it's so easy to tell. You could sell it to kids maybe.
This is oregano.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you're shooting up, you don't really taste it.
Yeah.
Like heroin. It says when you have so many fucking for-profit prisons.
Oh, I know.
Imagine how many people would get let out that they need to keep in those fucking beds to make their money.
Yeah, fucking capitalism. I know. It's making all the right things harder to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And those private prisons can take huge chunks of their profits and grease the palms of their local politicians.
Yeah.
So they'll never pass stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll just continue to throw people's lives away and rot in those cells forever.
I think it was Vice News that did the piece on state prison versus private prison. And they're going through like the conditions the prisoners live in, the amount of people who actually get paroled. Because even one of the inmates is like, no, dude, if you're in the last year of your sentence, if you're coming up to parole time, you want to go to state prison. You want to go to maximum security state prison. Because if you're sitting in the nice, cushy private prison, if there's not enough people in there, you aren't getting paroled. Yeah. So they have to keep so many people in there, so they'll keep denying your parole until they feel, hey, we got 20 people coming, we can parole 5 guys. But the state prison,
that's fucked up.
Doesn't have to require to keep so many people in their beds to make money.
It should be
easier to
such
get paroled.
An obvious conflict.
Oh, it is.
It should be. I mean, if we should have politicians just say no, that you can't do that, because the conflict is so apparent right from the beginning of what a bad fucking idea that's going to be. It's basically it's like you're jumping all the way back to Industrial Revolution style, workers' rights, basically, because these people are making them money while they sit in there, except you have no rights. But no rights at all. Even less than they did, because you have to give up some of your constitutional right to be imprisoned.
But the states fucked up when they signed the contracts, because I thought there's one company that runs all the fucking private, like one head matriarchal company that runs all the little ones. And in part of the contract, it was saying that the state will keep those private prisons, inmates, the number of inmates at a certain percentage.
Yep.
They won't allow them to go below that percentage. It wasn't like a 90 or something, but I swear it was in the 80s. Like they have to be
that brings up a whole nother issue about taxpayer dollars funding the police forces that are now shipping business straight to these private guys' pockets. Like now we're paying to have police officers fund their enterprise.
And it was also billed originally as, hey, these private prisons will cost less money than the state prison. And it turned up being like,
of course they don't.
Yeah,
it's dead wrong. Like, it costs way more money than the state prison.
Yeah, that never fucking works out. They look at short-term gains versus long-term gains, and they do that all over throughout that's what the Republican Party does throughout any government service.
Oh, it's like I thought I saw somewhere Paul Ryan made a comment like, well, we were going to have this debt anyways, so
we're going to have to pay for it somehow. This way we're not having government workers do this and building these structures from the government. It's all privately run and it's good capitalism and it's good for business. And no, it's fucking locking people in cages for profit.
Yeah. Yep. Should be 100% illegal.
It's terrible.
So what else do we got?
I'm Bryce Barkenagel. Have you ever wondered if Joseph Smith was drugging the early Mormons? Turns out it might be possible when you have a fantastic congregation that is witnessing angels floating around in the rafters and think that the temple is on fire and they're running out in the snow and writhing around on the ground naked. Yeah, as it turns out, drugs might be the best explanation. Be sure to check out my Sunstone Symposium presentation on the Joseph Smith entheogen theory by punching that into any YouTube browser. And thank you so much for checking that out, and be sure to check out the Naked Mormonism podcast. This is the Godless Rebelution.
So I just got off the phone with Colin over at K-Hole, and while he loves your tech, he's considering blowing up the deal.
What? Just because one of my CEOs is Christian?
It freaks people out in the Valley.
Okay, so what do you want me to do, Monica? You want me to drop Dee just because he's Christian? The company's not Christian, it's gay. Which is fine, right?
Yeah, no, that plays great.
Look, cutting all ties to Dee and First Sight will definitely send a strong message to Colin. And it might be the only way. Like killing somebody to prove you're not a narc, or showing a John your genitals to prove you're a legitimate male prostitute and not an undercover cop.
What?
Because cops aren't allowed to do that. And worst case scenario, the John walks off with a free peek. That's the towing company. Excuse me.
Forget it, Monica. I'm not doing it. I mean, I'm not dropping him.
All right, fine. I will call Colin and try and smooth things over for you, but you need to handle Dee. Okay, apologize for outing him, of course, but you need to make sure that he keeps quiet about this, right? Because it's not just about losing K-Hole. It's way worse than that. Let's put it this way. Would you want to go from being a rock band to being a Christian rock band?
Oh, shit.
You and the Godless Rebelution will be reassimilated in 3, 2, 1.
All right, Matt, what did you bring for us tonight?
I bringed.
It's so nice to have everybody in the studio. We haven't all been in the studio for a few weeks now.
Is it really? Well, yeah, because I was gone. Well, with the moving, and I was just like, "Fuck, 8-day shift, moving, painting. I need a break."
Yeah.
So you were gone, and then you were gone,
and then we were all gone.
We were all gone.
Well, when you went to the American Atheist
when I went to
Convention.
the Okie Dokie.
Yeah.
So it's been like a month since we've all been together.
Yeah. Wow. I'm sorry. Please. What was your story? Sorry.
Summerside, Prince Edward Island.
Oh.
Ooh, sounds like a good vacations place where you, with the, the way you said it.
Summery and Princes? It sounds delightful.
It's in Canada though.
Oh.
So there's that.
So it's not sunny.
Or Princey.
Yeah.
Responding to fallout over comments he made in a recent public Facebook post, the owner of Skip's Fish and Chips is defending his words.
But it rhymes. Skip's Fish and Chips.
Yep. Very good, Ryan.
Thank you.
Saying he was just giving exposure to Atlantic beef products halal meat. On April 5th, McGregor, the owner of the Summerside restaurant, posted on his eatery's Facebook page a photo of a burger saying it was his restaurant's unofficial entry into the current Burger Month campaign on PEI. and describing it as religion-free.
Okay.
Well, that sounds good, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little confused at what the outcry is about so far.
It's a free country, but it seems to me that the general trajectory of so-called progressives is towards secularism. No religion in the public square. So I thought it would be, and admittedly a little cheeky and fun, to present the secularist dream, a religion-free hamburger. The progressives are apparently not amused.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I never
Well,
had
it's not halal, it's not kosher. So.
Yeah, but I've never had a religious burger in my life
I don't know how this guy figured out all we want is a religious-free hamburger. Who told him?
He's heard the cry of the crowd.
McGregor said in his Facebook, his Facebook post was due to his commitment to a robust dialogue in the public square. Quote, I admit that some of my rhetoric is politically incorrect, but it is to make a point and to show the disingenuousness of the intolerant left in our society.
But did he really make a point? I'm confused.
Also in a Facebook post, Fresh Media, the marketing company behind the PEI Burger Love campaign, stated, quote, over the past few days, we have received messages relating to a hate-filled post trying to associate themselves with this month's promotion. This business, Skip's Fish and Chips, is not participating in PEI Burger Love, nor do we have any affiliation with the person behind those comments. That particular post does not in any way represent or reflect the value of Fresh Media. This is not the first time McGregor has stirred up controversy on Facebook. Last year, he was involved in another digital war of words after commenting online that the painting of a rainbow-colored sidewalks in Charlottetown was offensive to many. The rainbow is commonly used as an LGBTQ symbol. McGregor said the sidewalk comments were meant to expose the hypocrisy of the politicians who claim it symbolizes inclusiveness.
What were the comments on the thing? I'm confused by this whole story.
Yeah, the guy's he's just fucking crazy.
I think he's looking for things where there isn't anything.
Exactly. Yeah, he's a conspiracy right-wing guy.
And I mean, I've been to a few of the Pride parades here and attended Pride here in Salt Lake, and they seem pretty inclusive. And even people that are like, yeah, I'm just here to have some fun and dance and have some drinks
but everyone
hang
knows
out.
Everyone knows the rainbow isn't for straight people.
I mean,
that's what he's saying.
Gay people have taken it over. Have you guys seen the fucking pin for the straight pride thing?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a straight pride.
Is it like the rainbow thing, like reversed or something? Or
it's a rainbow-ish design, but it's just varying shades of white and gray.
Oh, so it's for white pride only.
Yeah, it's for straight pride. It's the straight pride flag.
Okay.
And apparently some jackass tried selling this on Amazon and Amazon yanked it, so that's good.
And they went with a grain bow for it?
Yeah, a gray bow.
Or is that just how you see it?
No, well here, I'll look up a picture for you guys. We actually talked about this at Lindy's wake on Saturday because we're at a gay bar and I was there with a bunch of my gay friends and
there it is. I see it right there.
Where? Which one?
Right there.
There's that, but there's an actual pin. I should type in pin as another one of the keywords in my search here. Straight pride pin. This. This is the pin. And it looks kind of like a flag.
Kind of like it looks
a little
like,
wavy.
It looks like a piece of meat.
Or
almost.
cake, maybe?
Or cake. Cake, yeah. More like cake.
It's pinkish.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like pink and purple, kind of.
Huh.
I think they're trying to represent all the skin tones.
Are they?
Well, you got white, not very white.
Is anybody but me this color right here?
No, that's gingers only. So you're represented on there.
Would you call that alabaster?
Yeah. then there's more of the Caucasian pink.
The next three look very much the same to me.
They look the exact
These
same.
4 look the same. Like this one is obviously darker.
Yeah.
That's a lot darker.
Those 3 look like a strip of bacon.
Yeah. Huh. And the top one is almost blackish.
Yeah.
Charred.
But yeah, so they tried selling this on Amazon and it has since been removed.
I see.
But my free speech!
My freeze peach!
Well, obviously, whoever found that Amazon was over in Europe because it's 450 euro.
I was actually thinking about that today when I was listening to an episode of Cognitive Dissonance, and they had a clip from fucking Rick Reynolds on there.
Ugh.
And he was whining and complaining about how YouTube doesn't want to let him put his hateful bullshit up or whatever. And going on about First Amendment and everything. And I'm like, they're such fucking hypocrites, right? Like they'll sit there and talk about how, you know, corporations are people, so much so that they get to choose, they get to have their own religion. A corporation has their own speech. They don't have to provide health care if they don't want to. Blah, blah, blah. That's how pro corporation they are. But then when you turn it around and the corporation says, no, I don't want to have that in my business, then they cry, oh, well, I have free speech. And which is it? Which is it, Rick Wiles? Do you want the corporations to be able to run roughshod all over everyone? Or do you want everyone to be able to express themselves?
Yeah.
That's why I really wish Mark Zuckerberg, when he was in that Senate hearing, would have said, you know, this is a private company. So if I don't want something on my private business, my enterprise, I can take it off because that's my right.
Yeah.
Not to allow that kind of speech on my
and
software.
that's
my
the other
platform.
thing is that YouTube and Facebook are not government entities.
No. They're privately
stopping
owned.
free speech, that's the only place where the First Amendment really applies. You can't have the government telling you what you can and can't say.
If YouTube
even though they do, but you know.
Yeah. But even if YouTube said, hey, cat videos only. If it's not a cat video, it's off the platform. They can do that.
Yeah, they can.
They can say fuck you to anyone they want and get rid of them.
Yeah, they can do that all day long because it's their fucking platform. It's their company. They own that shit. You don't have a right to be on somebody's fucking Facebook page or on Facebook at all. You don't have a right to be on Facebook.
And that's what they're making it sound like, was Facebook is the only place for anyone to go to.
And they probably wouldn't even lose that many fucking people if they changed it to PerTube or whatever. Whisker Tube.
No, they'd probably get more people because they know exactly where to get the best cat videos.
Well, you guys saw that Alex Jones is being sued, right? For defamation.
It's about time.
He was kicked off of Facebook. And so some of the parents from the Sandy Hook massacre have banded together and are suing Alex Jones for defamation, for calling them crisis actors and fakes and phonies. And
I'm surprised the owner of that pizza shop didn't fucking go after him.
I think he still could, and I think he should, actually.
Yeah.
Because of the shit that comes out of Alex Jones's fucking mouth, some wackadoon walked into wackadoon walked into this fucking pizza place,
shot it up, and demanded to see the sex kids.
The sex tunnels where they're smuggling children back and forth.
And Hillary's computers are maybe down there. I don't know.
And I bet you anything Alex Jones is going to use that same free speech argument.
Oh,
That's a free country.
Well, and he tries to play this off, during his divorce proceedings and custody battle for his kids. But I think the guy at the pizza place should absolutely sue him. I think these parents should sue. I think they should not only win damages in a just world, let me start over. In their lawsuit, they're seeking damages of at least $1 million.
Which in a defamation type suit isn't really a...
Well, for somebody
more.
with as much money as Alex Jones has or claims to have, I think they should get a lot more, especially for the type of shit that they've gone through. Their children were fucking murdered, and you've got this jackass bloviating dipshit saying that they were crisis actors, it's all fake and phony, false flag.
Did you see the thing on Vice News about 3 weeks ago?
No.
Of the group of people that go around trying to call out these family members and everything?
No.
They admitted that they went on and harassed families of Sandy Hook, fucking went after him and proved that they're all fakes. They don't actually never had kids because they couldn't give us a death certificate or a birth certificate. And then they're
not required to supply these fucking jackasses with that information. No. Fuck them.
Alex Jones is worth roughly $10 million.
Oh,
Holy fuck.
Yeah, I think they should be able to take all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, in a just world, what they should be able to get is all of the proceeds that he has made since that time, like, because he went on air and a bunch of people picked this up and it was a big deal and he got a lot more listeners, a lot more people watching his shit. They should get all proceeds that he has acquired since that time and punitive damages. Like, don't ever fucking do this again. We're making an example of you.
I wonder if you can actually trace the whole crisis actor conspiracy theory back to Alex Jones. I mean, if you did the legwork, you could probably find.
I doubt it would go to him. He has other sources in the deep state.
But his network, his other sources in the deep state are the people that fucking talk to him in his head.
the ones who drum up all the things for him to talk about.
Yeah.
The little voices in his head. But there were 2 lawsuits filed on Tuesday. They represent the first civil action taken by parents accusing Mr. Jones of defamation. One was filed by Leonard Posner and his wife, Veronique De La Rosa, and the other was filed by Neil Heslin. Their sons Noah Posner and Jesse Heslin, both 6, were killed at Sandy Hook. The suits focus on comments made by Alex Jones in the past year in a segment on his radio show called Sandy Hook Vampires Exposed. What a fucking asshole.
Like he's basically saying that these parents are bloodsuckers.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I was going to say earlier, we know that Alex Jones, during his divorce and custody battle, was saying that, I'm just an entertainer.
Well,
this is all entertainment. Blah,
that was
blah,
his
blah.
lawyer,
right? That was his
saying
attorney.
That. And Alex Jones saying, I'm real media.
And he's caused real harm to real people in real life. This is fucking disgusting. And they should be, honestly, if I were the judge, he's lucky I'm not the judge, because if I were the judge, I'd be like, you lose everything. You're giving it to these poor, horribly grieving parents. Not just because their children were killed, but because you set them apart and set them up for harassment from a bunch of your dipshit fucking listeners
that call their
that
homes,
have been harassing them for years now.
Find them in public and do horrible shit.
Making death threats, stalking them, making their lives even worse than they were than just after their children fucking were murdered in their grade school.
You know, you have a freedom to free speech.
Absolutely.
You don't have a freedom of consequences.
Right. Yeah. During let's see, Alex Jones suggests that they're actors.
Yeah.
He's said of one of the people there's a video, some of our listeners may have seen it, where Alex Jones makes this comment about, well, when he turns his head, his nose disappears, and you can it's because the green screen isn't set up just right, and so you know that they're just acting, and this is all staged. And of course, you, Ryan, probably know, frame rates and compression relics, all of that kind of shit. And no, he's saying that his nose disappears, and so you know it was all staged and it's fake. A few months after that, Alex Jones was profiled on NBC's Sunday Night with Megyn Kelly, which brought up his past comments about Sandy Hook. Ms. Kelly also interviewed Mr. Heslin, who recalled seeing his dead son. Quote, I held my son with a bullet hole through his head, Mr. Heslin told her. But a week later, in an InfoWars video, Owen Schroyer, who works on the site, argued that it was, quote, not possible that Mr. Heslin held his dead son because the medical examiner said he showed photographs to the parents to identify the children. Quote, will there be a clarification from Heslin or Megyn Kelly, Mr. Schroyer said. I wouldn't hold your breath.
Well, yeah, the medical examiner probably did show them photos of the children, but when they're at the mortuary, guess what? The father probably got to hold his dead son one last time.
Yeah, it's
both of those situations are 100% possible.
Yeah, it's just fucking disgusting, and Alex Jones should lose every bit of the fortune that he's made from calling these people crisis actors, and for all of the shit that they've had to go through since then. I hope they fucking clean him out. I hope it puts him out of fucking business. That's what I hope. Because he's a dangerous fucking lunatic.
Yeah, he is. I mean, nothing he's ever said, even before that, has been good for anybody. You know, it's all problematic. It's all false. It's all unverified. It's all propaganda.
Yeah, what good has he done? in the world, and my voice is going out all of a sudden.
I'm like, are you starting to cry?
No, I got a tickle in my throat, and my voice is going all of a sudden. Fucking allergies have been bothering me lately.
You just need a little beef stick.
I need a minute. Let's take a break.
Okay.
This is Dr. Dan, Matt's boss from the Two Skeptical Chaps podcast, and you are listening to the Godless Revolution. Oh shit, did I say I mean Revolution. Bloody Americans fucking up the language. You can edit that, right, Spike?
Anyway, it was a mistake. I'm sorry I outed you. I just wish we could go back to normal, you know, just like how things were. A CEO and a gay CEO. I don't even know what normal is anymore, Richard. It's been such a crazy 24 hours, you know? Gossip travels so fast in the valley. I'll be lucky if my parents ever talk to me again. Your parents aren't Christian?
I'm from Palo Alto.
My dad says my lifestyle makes him sick. He just wants his gay son back. And he's okay with the gay part. He's gay. Oh. But the crazy part is, when I finally got home and I got in bed, I had the soundest sleep I've had in years. Exhaustion. No, relief, Richard. I'm out, okay? My nightmare's over. I don't ever have to go back in that closet again, and I've got you to thank for it. Look, Richard, this is great, because now I can be gay and Christian. Or just be gay. You know, you could be a twink, a bear, an otter, a circuit queen, a chub, a pup, a gipster, daddy chaser, a leatherman, a ladyboy. You could be a Donald Duck, which is a gay guy who got kicked out of the Navy. Yeah, I know what it is. How do you know so many gay things? I worked with a guy.
Thank you to everybody who has rated the show on iTunes and Stitcher and are following us on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And to all our Patreon patrons, you make the show possible.
I just remembered.
You remembered?
I just remembered during the previous segment when I said, hey, it's nice to have everybody in the studio again. I was going to go somewhere with that. And it was that we have yet to talk as a group about the April Fool's Day.
Oh, yeah. Fuck you.
Episode.
That's like, did you two conspire with that before I showed up?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. So Matt just sent me a message and it was like, hey, I've got a prank we can play on Ryan in the audience. I've edited. What show did you take it from? You got perioded on, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I can't remember what episode number that was, but that was the title of the episode was You Got Perioded On. And he said, it's just, however many minutes of Ryan talking by himself.
Just bullshit. I'm like,
yeah, I just went through and I cut out like a 40-minute section of that episode. And then I just went through that 40 minutes and cut everywhere me and Dan made a noise and just left it like 10 minutes of Ryan talking to himself about shit. And it was funny because like the first little bit you were telling stories. And so it was kind of going together and making sense. But then Dan started telling a story. So your sounds kind of went to, yep, that would be fun. Ooh, uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah. Thoroughly confused when my mom sends me a text. I think there's something wrong with the episode. I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, it's only 13 minutes long and it's only you.
So had she listened to it? Or?
I was at the gym at work.
Yeah.
And she sent me that message and I'm like, well, fuck. I wonder if Dan accidentally put up the lesbian farmer clip.
Oh.
So then I started listening to it. I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah.
And then I was messaging you while I was listening to it. And I get to the end. I'm like, oh, fuck you. I'm like,
I can't remember if I put the lesbian farmer out for only Patreon supporters or for everybody.
It was just for the Patreon.
Yeah. Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Yeah.
So, since you're gay, do you know? You heard about lesbian farmers moving?
It came off way worse than it was meant. It was meant to be lighthearted, and I should have started that thing off with like, "Hey, did you see what so and so said today?" Instead of going straight to what the guy said, and then it making no sense. Like, is this guy for real? I felt horrible.
Well, and then I don't know that we discussed it. You and I talked about this a little bit on the last episode, I think, about the April Fool's deal. But I don't know if we ever resolved, like, why you played into the prank so well.
I don't know.
At the end of the recording.
I have no clue why I just...
Yeah, because Dan was like, oh yeah, said something about April Fools. He's like, oh yeah, we got to record a thing for the April Fools episode or whatever. And
like, I think the board, I think we had turned the board off.
Yeah, and you turned it back on, put your headphones back on. And then even in that, Dan was like,
I was like, haha, gotcha. It's episode 189. It's not episode 200.
Yeah, and Dan was like, you'll be hearing the regular episode after this one comes out or something. You didn't, and you were just like,
I wasn't even picking up.
And you're just like, happy April Fools, everybody.
not even picking up on it at the time. That's why when I said back to Dan, I'm like, oh, fuck you. I see what you did.
Well, it was really funny too, because I don't know if we talked about this before, but we have a little on Facebook. I've created a instant messenger chat between the three of us for Godless Rebelution. And so Ryan first tried contacting me on that and sent a message and just put a screen cap of, I think there's something wrong with the episode. And
that was before I listened to it. When my mom had sent me the message.
So I got that during the middle of the day, and it's just a screen cap, and you said, I think there's something wrong with the episode, and I glanced at it and I chuckled to myself.
I bet you did.
And then I continued working.
So I'm like, well, Dan's not responding. We got the wrong episode out. Let's go to the Facebook.
So then when I don't reply to the Facebook thing, I don't know, it was like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours later, you sent me a text message with basically the same thing,
the exact
screen
same
grab
thing.
and whatever. And I think I just replied like, well, what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
Because all you said was, I think there's something wrong, and you had a screen grab of it. And then you're like, well, it's only like 13 minutes long, and I think it's only me.
Because that's what my mom had told me. Then when I listened to it was when I sent a text back to you later. I'm like, oh, I fucking see what you did, asshole.
Oh my God, that was when Matt sent me the first message. He's like, yeah, I'm going to cut it out so it's just Ryan. And I laughed so fucking hard.
Because at first I was like, shit, we should do an April Fool's episode where we just totally cut Ryan from the whole episode. And then I'm like, wait, no, we should do one that's only Ryan.
Because I have the most eloquent things to say. No.
I laughed so fucking hard when you sent me that message. Like, I texted Tracy and I'm like, come here, you got to see this. And she came up and we just giggled our asses off at how funny just the idea was.
Because I knew because I remember that night after later on thinking, I'm like, well, fuck. Matt did get there before I did, and he wasn't in his car. Usually he sits in his car. But when I got there, he was already in the house and they're already talking. I'm like, were they conspiring?
They're conspiring. Collaborators. They were colluding.
It was already done by then, though. Wasn't it?
Oh yeah, you had just given me the thumb drive.
Now I know.
Oh, that was a lot of fun. What else have you got for us tonight, Matt?
Are baby boomers returning to religion?
Ooh, my mom's gonna be pissed.
Possibly.
About what?
Baby boomers.
Why, does she hate them?
No, she is one.
Oh. So she's going to be pissed that we're doing a story about baby boomers?
If it's a negative one, yeah.
It's always negative.
Yeah.
It's me.
It's baby boomers and Matt, yeah.
But I don't know how many times I have to excuse her from the group.
Every time.
Yeah, okay, apparently.
We know you're an exception, Mrs. Duffy.
That's why I always say, sorry, Mom, I'm going to say the word cunt.
Many in the baby boomer generation known for ushering in an era of protests that brought about transformative change in American society, so says Vincent Lim, but they didn't really, as I outlined in my What Matters piece, because the oldest boomers were seniors in high school in 1965. But they're all too happy to take credit, however. And this is in my thing, hashtag not Lori Duffy.
You hear that, Mom? It's not about you.
Are increasingly turning to churches, temples, and mosques to find meaning in their later years of life. This is the major finding from the latest wave of data collected from the longitudinal study of generations, which was originally developed in 1970 at USC by then Assistant Professor Vern Bankston. Bankston has collected a ninth round of data in this 45-year study.
Wow.
The research was funded by the John Templeton Foundation.
Don't know.
the John Templeton Foundation, at least according to Wikipedia, because I figured people might not know, is a philanthropic organization with a spiritual or religious inclination that funds interdisciplinary research about human purpose and ultimate reality.
So they're
trying to justify
I guess it could still be.
religion.
They are not an unbiased source.
Okay.
At all.
It probably would have a religious bent to them.
Yeah.
Well, and it uses the word philanthropic as if they're doing these things as a good deed.
That they're just
contribute
handing
to
it
the
out.
community.
Yeah,
But
I know.
they have an agenda.
But every religion calls themselves a philanthropic or a charity or many people became more engaged in religion and more involved in religious activities as they approached the end of their life, Bankston said. Bankston and his former USC colleague Meryl Silverstein were investigators on the recently completed 3-year project that aimed to better understand how baby boomers identified with a religion and practiced it, as well as how it affected their well-being. One of the things we found in our study of baby boomers, particularly among the older boomers, was that many are now more likely to be churchgoers or engage in spiritual practices than they did in their middle years. 1 in 5 of the 599 boomers in our study reported they had increased their religious or spiritual activities in recent years. It just reeks of disingenuous self-preservation to me. Just spend your whole life doing whatever the fuck you want, and then at the very end, you're like, oh.
That's what my dad is doing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but by increase by how much? Like, it could be, hey, I used to not go to church on Christmas or Easter, but now I do.
Yeah,
so I go twice a year versus
it could be that,
once a year.
But yeah, I bet it's more than that, though. Bankston and his research team discovered 3 factors that may explain why some baby boomers are more religiously involved as they age. The first is the most practical. People simply have more time in their retirement years and are not preoccupied by full-time work. The other reasons are more personal. An example is the growing sense of impermanence that comes with age. People become more aware of the shortness of years in their remaining life. Many of them want to set their house in order, so to speak, at the end of the life. The third reason is connected to this awareness. It's the direct experience of the fragility of life. Many people experience a health crisis that actually brings them closer to death. It causes them to reassess what's truly important and what is much less important.
Yeah, my dad had the medical situation, which causes them to rethink their life. But for him, he's determined that what's most important is that he go back to church rather than, just being a good person.
Yeah. Right.
And connecting
just
with
up.
the people in your life and being good and kind to them and everything. Because really, if God is good and just and righteous, then that should be what God would want you to do versus licking the soles of his fucking feet.
But actually, the latter is what he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bankston is expected to find clear gender differences among baby boomers, but he didn't. Findings from numerous research studies suggest that women tend to be more religious than men. This is reflected by women's higher rates of church attendance and membership among the general population, but not what Bankston found. In the study, we found that there was not a major difference between men and women in private religious practices such as prayer and devotional activities. In terms of perception of religiosity among men and women, there was no difference either. We asked people, would you say you're a religious? Would you say you're a spiritual person? We didn't find any differences in the percentages of men compared to women who identified themselves as religious or spiritual. So that's interesting. That the baby boomers as a generation are yet again outside of statistical norms.
Yeah, that's weird. I was just thinking that it seems really weird to me too that women are generally more religious than men, particularly because women aren't viewed as equal to men as far as religions go and the teachings of or religious teachings, right? Women are the helpmeet to the man. They're the accessory, if you will. They're not considered co-equal partners in things. The woman is there to support the man in what he's doing because he's obviously much more important than the woman. So it's always struck me as really weird that so many women are religious because ultimately, I guess it boils down to patriarchy. They're raised from birth thinking that, yes, women are less, but we still have an important role to fulfill.
Yeah. You get to have the babies.
That might be it, but women are also more prone to woo than men.
You think? Well, do you think, I think...
I'm pretty sure that's a studied...
Well, I think they're more emotionally... They're more not emotionally sensitive, not in a bad way. They're more tied to their emotions than just pure logic.
Well, it might be also but if I think
there's no. I'm trying to think of a good way to say this.
I would say that women in our society are more emotionally honest than men.
That's where I was going to go with it. 'Cause I was going to say men and women both have the same emotions, but it's actually exhibiting those emotions and feeling free or allowed to actually exhibit those emotions. Because men are more told, "Hey, lock that shit up." Where it's like, "Oh, if it's a woman crying, it's normal.
And that's a problem of patriarchy.
Yeah.
Awkward silence.
We're not crying.
I'm not crying. You're crying. No, yeah.
But you did cry on the last one, didn't you?
Close.
We're pretty fucking close.
It sounded like it.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
He remembered his patriarchy and he hit it.
I was like, I'm a man. I can't do this, especially in public, or on a recorded something that people will hear.
In public.
Yeah. Yeah, it was close. My grandfather and I, that's why I like golfing so much. That was the one special thing that we kind of shared together. You know, when I was a young kid, he and my grandmother are the ones who paid to send me off to the Brigham City golf course for golf lessons. You know, I'd go and stay with them in the summer for a couple of weeks and would take golf lessons, and they'd pick me, they'd take me to the golf course early in the morning and drop me off and come and pick me up afterward. And then he and I would go golfing, and, he and me and my grandmother would go golfing. We were the first people, as far as I know, and I would guess this is an accurate thing to say regardless, we're the first people to hit golf balls out onto the new golf course that they built in Brigham City. They used to have just an old municipal course that was a 9-hole course, and they built this new 18-hole golf course when they closed the Indian school in Brigham City.
That's racist.
That's what it was called, was the Indian school. There's a big I on the side of the mountain for Indian school. That's still there 30 fucking years later, 35 years later. But they closed the Indian school and shipped them to various parts unknown. I don't know. And then while they were building the golf course and still just, bringing in truckloads of dirt and building hills and fairways and everything, before they had planted grass, before they'd done anything, it was kind of funny because it was actually from the front lawn of the LDS Church across the street from the golf course that we were putting our tees in the ground and smacking golf balls and hitting them out onto the golf course before anything was done. So that was one of my favorite memories of my grandfather.
They had the whole course graded, ready to go, and they come in to lay sod, and some asshole put a bunch of fucking balls on it.
A bunch of fucking golf balls out here. And they're trashy golf balls, too. I think they were actually range balls from the other golf course that my grandfather had stolen. And that we were then hitting onto the new golf course.
Wait, so what was that a school for Native Americans that was just called Indian?
Yeah.
Oh. And so they decided just to tear that down and ship them off to who knows where so that rich, spoiled white guys can have their golf?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know the whole history of the Indian school there. I remember when I was a kid this is something that I should probably look up because I can remember when I was a kid, Brigham City's a tiny fucking town. Well, it's gotten quite a bit bigger since I was little, but at the time, I was born in Brigham City. My parents lived there. My grandparents, a bunch of my family still lives there. And it was just this tiny little podunk town with one grocery store, one or two restaurants, tiny, small town America.
Everyone knows everybody.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And they had the Indian school there, and everybody in Brigham was racist as fuck when it came to Native Americans because they had the Indian school there, and, living conditions there weren't ideal, and there was a lot of crime associated with it and everything. And Yeah, I don't know really the history of that, like how it came to be, why it went away, what happened to the kids, anything like that. That's something that I should look into.
Well, we know the Mormon Church has always been excellent stewards for Native Americans.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, they've always taken care of them.
Yeah.
Not just Native Americans, but African Americans,
Polynesians.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to continue with different classes of people that the Mormon Church has fucked with, but I guess we got a segue.
Yes. Speaking of African American, Africa Americans and the LDS Church, we have a couple stories about that.
I want to punch that lizard-headed fucking right in the face.
Hey, a new slur. All right. I didn't know black people were called that.
No, well, he changed the page. It had the fucking LDS guy on the screen.
Oh.
That guy. Doesn't he look a little lizardy? The new prophet?
Yeah, sure.
President Nelson?
Yeah.
You know who he looks like is, and I fucking hate this guy, Jeff. Well, I don't hate him. I really dislike Jeff Dunham.
Oh yeah.
And his comedy.
The old guy puppet?
It's fucking stupid. Yeah, he looks like, what is the old
Walter?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
That's
he does
funny.
rather look like
Jeff
that.
Dunham bothers me to no end. Like, I don't think he's funny. I don't think he's a good ventriloquist. He's really just kind of fucking shitty all over.
Well, he's a good ventriloquist.
Is he? I mean, every time I've seen him, I can see his throat moving, his mouth moving.
Yeah, but I didn't know it was him.
You thought the dummies were really talking?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, Nelson looks like Walter.
Mm-hmm.
He does.
Jeff Dunham's angry old man.
He's even got the hair on the sides.
Puppet, yeah. But the LDS Church is planning to celebrate an end to the ban on blacks entering the priesthood.
Their own end to their own ban.
Right, yeah.
Which they were kind of forced to do because of the civil rights movement.
So this is a big ass.
Well, they were
pat
really
on the
fucking
back.
late if they were part of the civil rights movement. I mean,
have they ever been on time?
Well, this is more than a decade after
it
the
was
Civil
like,
Rights Act.
What,
so
73, 74?
64. And the Mormons ended their ban on blacks entering the priesthood in 78.
78? Holy shit, that's even more than 10 years.
Yeah.
I thought it was early 70s they did it.
So this is just a big pat themselves on the back session.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So this comes to us from the Salt Lake Tribune, and it's written by Peggy Stack, who reports on all things religion here in the United States, here in Utah for the Salt Lake Tribune. And she writes that on an otherwise unremarkable day in June, nearly 4 decades ago, the LDS Church made a momentous declaration. It was opening its priesthood to all worthy males, ending a century-long ban on black men and boys being ordained, and on black women being allowed in Mormon temples. That June 8th, 1978 change was a divine revelation, top LDS leaders said at the time, which came after much prayer and meditation about the prohibition.
Now, was that the case, or was it when they checked their pocketbooks like, we can make a lot more money if we let blacks in?
I think that they just decided that there was time they got with the times.
Yeah, it was probably more internal social pressure that the upstanding white members were starting to wonder what that was all about, and how, talk about it being unfair or whatever.
I don't know about that, because even like the white evangelicals back in the late 70s, I think, were still fairly fucking racist.
Oh, yeah.
They still are.
Yeah, and they still are. Yeah, it's like it was worse then than it is now.
Yeah, they're still super fucking racist. If you ever are in a room with very devout LDS people, and they feel comfortable just being themselves around you, you would be shocked at how fucking racist they are, like at their core, like as a core part of the religious teachings from their church, super fucking racist.
Yeah.
I am constantly shocked whenever I'm in a room with a large group of LDS people about the things they talk about amongst themselves. It's fucking disgusting.
Well, it's like I even had some friends ask me once, goes, where's a good place to go for a hike in Moab? I'm like, well, there's a little spot just outside of town. It's a really nice, beautiful hike. It's got a nice waterfall at the end. And
it's a canyon named after a guy named Bill.
It's a canyon. And the name of the canyon is Negro Bill, which is better than it used to be called.
Uh-huh.
Even though I don't like calling it Negro Bill because it's still fucking horrible. Then I'm like, I fucking can't.
It's much better than calling it Nigger Bill Canyon.
Yeah, but I still can't say
but
it.
Still, it's like totally fucking racist.
And then they changed it again last year.
Uh-huh.
To like Frederick Canyon. And everybody's like, why are they changing it? It's a historical.
Well, yeah, we talked about that on the show when they did it, yeah.
That's the guy's actual name.
Uh-huh.
And next it'll be Lizard Bill Canyon.
Continuing on with the story, the church's governing First Presidency said Monday that it will host a celebration June 1st at the Conference Center in downtown Salt Lake City to mark the 40th anniversary of that revelatory change. The event, details of which are yet to be announced because I'm sure somebody at the church just realized, oh wow, we're coming up on 40 years. We should probably do something about that. Alert the press! Well, we don't have any plans. That's okay, alert the press!
We're
in Utah. They'll give us us a glowing write-up about this.
Yeah. Everyone thinks we're racist still. Let's prove we're not.
Yeah. But it's set to be broadcast from the church's conference center at 7 p.m. on June 1st. To LaShawn Williams, a black Mormon, the celebration is a, quote, step in the right direction. I've never understood how someone can be black and a Mormon. It just doesn't fucking work in my head. It's worse than being a woman who is Mormon.
Yeah.
And to be a black woman who is Mormon? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Just
Jesus Christ,
read
man.
the church doctrine. They hate you.
Williams, who teaches courses on social work at Utah Valley University, said, consistency matters most to me after a historic celebration. If she really valued consistency, she would say, they really ought to go back to banning us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was their fucking history until 40 years ago. The LDS Church is demonstrating a desire to listen and to do, she said. And my testimony will grow as it continues to do better. So, she basically just said that she has a problem with the church, and that by them doing this, it'll make it a little bit better for her. And it's like, why the fuck are you a member, man?
Yeah.
And what does it mean to say that they'll do better?
Yeah.
I mean, you're saying that there's a not insignificant deficit in what's supposed to be a perfect plan, a perfect church.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it took him 140 years to say, okay, blacks, you're accepted now.
Yeah, this is
they say still don't feel accepted.
This is God's restored perfect church here on the face of the planet. And they didn't allow blacks to hold the priesthood until 40 years ago. And most Mormons still are super, super fucking racist about it. And most Mormons still believe that if you are a good Mormon and you follow the teachings in the Book of Mormon and the Doctrine and Covenants, that your skin will continue to get more white and delightsome. And I know that I know that the church changed the Book of Mormon fairly recently to change that passage from saying white and delightsome to pure and delightsome, which again calls into question
what's pure.
And if Joseph Smith,
that's a synonym with white.
Yeah, and if Joseph Smith translated these books correctly by using the Urim and Thummim in a fucking hat from the golden plates, did Joseph Smith fuck up during the original translation? If that's the case, then how can you believe anything that's in the book? Because all of it could be a fucking mistake.
Or when God told him that he should use white and delightsome, did he not see this coming?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, was it a stupid God, a stupid translator, a stupid church now, or stupid people who are black women in the fucking church who acknowledge that there are issues with the church that they're uncomfortable with, but nonetheless decide to stay in it anyway? That's fucking crazy. I don't understand it. The story continues and says the LDS Church is demonstrating a desire to listen and to do.
No, they're not.
Oh, we already said that. Darius Gray, one of the founders of Genesis, a support group for black Mormons, which is funny that they need a support group.
Yeah.
Recently penned a blog for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints official website. Quote, I am black, an African-American convert who this year celebrates with millions of members the 40th anniversary of the priesthood being extended to all worthy male members, Gray wrote in Healing the Wounds of Racism. Since that time, church leaders have fully disavowed past speculation for why the priesthood was withheld, including the notion of blacks being less valiant in the premortal existence.
Have they, though?
So for those of our listeners who don't know and may not have heard us talk about this on previous episodes of the Godless Rebelution, the LDS Church teaches that in the premortal existence, so the premortal existence is the period before we're down here on earth and before God has sex with his spirit wives on Kolob to send the spirit babies here to inhabit our fleshy, meaty exteriors, that in the premortal existence, God sat down with his council and said, here's my plan. This is what I want to do for humanity or with humanity that I'm going to create. You guys tell me what you think, which is fucking weird anyway. And then, so then Mormon theology also teaches that Lucifer and Jesus were brothers in heaven, and that when Lucifer saw God's plan, he said, no, that's a terrible plan. You're giving them free will to be able to commit these atrocious acts and do all this different stuff. How about we just make sure that they can't do those bad things and that they have healthy, happy lives? And so then there was this war in heaven where Jesus had a bunch of followers follow him, and Lucifer had a bunch of followers follow him. There was a war in heaven, and those who fought on Jesus' side are fine. They're great spirits here on earth.
They're born
for the
white.
LDS Church.
They're born as white people.
They're born as white people into the LDS Church, and those who still fought on Jesus' side, but less valiantly than the more valiant people who were fighting on Jesus' side, well, they're cursed with a darkness.
Yeah.
They're cursed with dark skin, and they're born as black people here on earth. They didn't go to hell. They weren't cast out of heaven to live in outer darkness or hell with Lucifer, but because they fought less valiantly, well, we have to make sure that everybody knows, hey, you guys were with Jesus, but you weren't quite good enough, so we're going to make you black.
Well, they were good enough. They were just lazy.
Right.
They didn't kill us enough people.
Yeah, they didn't slay enough spirit babies.
Yeah, they weren't stab happy
in the
enough.
premortal existence. Mormon theology is way fucking out there, man. Most Mormons won't talk about this kind of shit with you when the missionaries come over to your house to tell you how great their church is.
No, that's how there are black converts.
Right.
Yeah, it's a sci-fi movie.
It is.
Literally.
I mean, a lot of it is what Battlestar Galactica was based on. Instead of Kolob, it's Kobol.
Yeah.
That they're searching for. The Battlestar Galactica is based in large part on Mormon theology. It's all a bunch of weird fucking nonsense. Yeah. Let's see, I already read that. So, Still Gray said, racially insensitive comments and attitudes concerning persons of color have not all gone away yet.
Really?
Which is shocking.
It can't, because of what we just explained. It's
part of their core theology.
Yeah, it's part of the very fundamental stuff that they believe about the pre-existence and who Jesus and who Satan actually are.
Yeah. The first step toward healing is the realization that the problem exists even among some of us in the church, he wrote. We cannot fix that which we overlook or deny. But he's basically overlooking it to become a member of this church.
Or denying it.
Yeah, who thinks that he's a lesser person. Clearly, he's been marked. He has the mark of Cain. He has dark skin. That's his problem. He didn't fight as valiantly in the premortal existence. Gray and other black Mormons hope the 40th anniversary celebration will bring, quote, renewed awareness of how the LDS Church has been enriched by its openness to members of all races. Sure, prior to 1978, blacks could be members of the Mormon Church.
Yeah. Give us your money.
Yeah, they could give them their money. They could volunteer. I mean, the LDS Church is a volunteer-run organization for the most part. They have regular members clean their temples, do the lawns, do all of the fucking grunt work in the church. And so, yeah, sure, we'll have black people do that for us. That's fucking awesome. And you guys don't get the priesthood. What do you think about that? Maybe one day. maybe one day if you keep on being, really delightsome, then you'll also be white and delightsome.
Which is weird because why are there any black members? I mean, I don't know. No, what I mean is if the closer you get to being right, which would be following Mormon doctrine, going to the temple, which they can do now.
Oh, right.
Their skin should be lightening.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And yet you and I have left the church and we're still pasty fucks.
I'm about as white as you can get.
Was Michael Jackson a Mormon?
Yeah.
Maybe he was. That's a very good question, Ryan.
We need to figure this out.
But yeah, I thought maybe it would be good to have Bryce on the show again sometime in the near future, or before this happens, Bryce, to talk more about this.
Blinkenagel?
The Barkenagel.
Barkenagel?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he would be a fun guest to have on to talk about this. I haven't heard him talk about it on his show since this was announced, so maybe I'll shoot him a message and ask him about that.
This is Natalie Newell of Science Moms and the Parenthetical Science Podcast. You are listening to the Godless Rebelution.
I'm glad this worked out.
Yeah.
Thanks for dropping first sight. Jesus, my board would have nailed me to a cross.
Well, I think we're just about ready to get going here. Oh, good. There he is.
What's he doing here?
He is here because I asked him to be. I want him to be one of our developers.
What? No. Fuck that guy. Hey, man, how's it going?
Richard? Dee. Yeah, no, actually, look, guys, I asked you to be a part of this because I thought you were willing to take a chance on my idea, an entirely new internet. An internet that is everything the old internet is supposed to be, but isn't. Truly free and truly open. Well, I'm sorry, gang. Truly open means open to everyone, no matter how repugnant their views are, how ignorant or stupid, or, to be honest, totally fucking wrong. And look, who are we to judge, right? There's some people out there that believe that we're living in a computer simulation.
Well, that is supported by the evidence.
What?
It's basic probability theory.
If you have questions, comments, concerns, compliments, corrections, criticisms, or concepts for content, contact the show via email at godlessrebelution@gmail.com, by text or voicemail at 330-81-REBEL, or Twitter the twatter at TGR Podcast. Thank you!
So on this auspicious day of April 20th, I saw an article that was written on April 13th.
Or was it March 13th?
A week ago. It could have been March 13th if you don't really pay attention to what I say at the very, very beginning of the show.
What if you don't pay attention to what Dan says for the whole show?
Well, then I'll just be quiet. That's fine. This comes to us from the Huffington Post, and it's fantastic news for our friends in the trans community.
Yeah.
That judge threw out Trump's ban on transgender people in the military, saying that transgender people are a protected class in the military, cannot enact Trump's ban.
Yeah, you would think that somebody in a reasonably high office would know simple rules and laws like this.
Oh, you would think that for sure, yeah. But he doesn't know jack shit about anything.
Nope.
Thinking has gone out the window.
Washington, a federal judge late Friday barred the federal government from implementing Donald Trump's ban on transgender members of the military, finding that the ban had to be subject to a careful court review before implementation because of the history of discrimination against transgender individuals. U.S. District Judge Marsha Peckman of the Western District of Washington ruled that transgender people were a protected class and that the injunctions against the implementation of the ban that had been issued in December should remain in place. She wrote that there was a long and well-recognized history of discrimination and systemic oppression against transgender people, that discrimination against transgender people was clearly unrelated to their ability to perform and contribute to society, that transgender people have immutable characteristics, and that they lacked relative political power.
Yeah.
All of that is 100% true. Quote, transgender people have long been forced to live in silence or to come out and face the threat of overwhelming discrimination, Peckman wrote. The court also rules that because transgender people have long been subjected to systemic oppression and forced to live in silence, they are a protected class. Therefore, any attempt to exclude them from military service will be looked at with the highest level of care and will be subject to the court's strict scrutiny. This means that before defendants can implement the ban, they must show that it was sincerely motivated by compelling interests rather than by prejudice or stereotype, and that it is narrowly tailored to achieve those interests.
Yeah.
Peckman wrote.
Which they're not going to be able to do.
No, hell no. It was
because it's
it was
not
totally
about
fucking
that.
biased.
Yeah.
While Trump had tweeted that he consulted generals and military experts about the ban, Peckman wrote that the government had, quote, failed to identify even one general or military expert he consulted, despite having been ordered to do so repeatedly.
So he was sitting in the bathtub with his G.I. Joes.
No, he wasn't in the bathtub. He was on the fucking toilet, tweeting about shit. Oh, I'm sure everybody they'll not understand if I say that I've spoken to the generals and to military authorities who said that this is a good idea because we need to support our troops. Oh yeah, this is gonna be good. This is how I'll really stick it to the trans community. This is gonna be great.
It's interesting to see now how Trump has conducted so much of himself and his business over the years by just flat out lying about the people he has in his corner, the people that he's consulted. He just shows up to a deal, lies his fucking ass off about whatever he needs to get leverage, and then takes off and then doesn't pay, But now that he's being asked to verify, he can't even do it once.
Yeah, and he's pathological. He's a pathological liar. He cannot not lie.
Yeah.
It's just who he is. It's what he fucking does about everything. Noting that Pentagon officials were surprised by the announcement and that Defense Secretary Jim Mattis got a heads up only 1 day beforehand, the judge wrote that she, quote, is led to conclude that the ban was devised by the president and the president alone.
Maybe his religious advisor helped him.
As
Jim
if
Baker?
he listens to any of his advisors, really. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe to some tiny extent, but he's going to do whatever the fuck he wants to do. Sharon McGowan, a former top official in the Justice Department Civil Rights Division who now works as Director of Strategy for Lambda Legal, wrote that Peckman, quote, cut through the nonsense, recognizing that the plan announced by the military was just a dressed-up version of Trump's original ban.
Which got thrown out.
And it has a tweet from Sharon McGowan that says, Judge Peckman cut through the nonsense and realized that there was no new ban, just the same old ban with some new packaging. Trans discrimination triggers strict scrutiny. Full stop. Department of Justice gets one last chance to defend policy, but make no mistake, this ban is going down.
Yeah.
And it did, and that's a fucking great bit of news in an otherwise bleak landscape of devastation coming from the fucking Trump administration.
Yeah.
Well, it's like we actually had a pretty good conversation at work the other day that kind of goes along with this a bit.
Oh, yeah?
Because one guy said, why are there so many more gay people now? And it's like, listen,
fuck truck.
There's not more gay people now.
Yeah.
Just there's more visibility.
Well, more people feel more
comfortable
the ability
with
and comfortable
saying,
with coming out.
I'm gay. He goes, I'm like, you realize that a generation ago,
they've always been there, asshole.
Yeah, but a generation ago, you could have been locked up in an insane asylum for being gay. You would have been targeted and arrested if you went to a gay bar. You were not allowed to be out in the public and be able to express yourself.
Yeah.
So I feel the transgender issue is going the same way. Right now, a lot of people who are transgender feel they can't go out in public. They can't express themselves the way they truly are. But in the future, hopefully it'll go the same way where people are like, wow, why are there so many trans people? Like, they've always been here. Just now they feel that finally they are allowed to actually express themselves. They're allowed to say, hey, this is who the fuck I am. Deal with it.
Just next time when they say, why are there so many, just say, because there's more people, dipshit. It's just statistically
population
there are going to be more,
motherfucker.
Yeah, there's going to be more diversity.
But I mean, the conversation actually came up because one of the guys at work goes, it's like, I think my son's gay. Because I actually told him, I said, hey, if you like men, if you're gay, that's okay.
Well, don't tell how old is his son?
He's like 13. But he said his son had a friend over at the house, and they were in the basement together, and his son was like caressing the other boy's leg in a semi-sexual manner. He's like, oh, that's a little closer than I am with my male friends.
He was doing what? His son was humping another kid's leg?
No, caressing like with his hand. Like he was rubbing caressing the other boy's thigh.
Oh.
Like they were like boyfriend, girlfriend type thing almost.
Oh, like an intimate touch on the thigh? Yeah.
Yeah. That's why he told him, hey, if you're gay, he's like, I'm not gay. I'm no homo. Kind of thing that they like to say. Yeah. And he said, he goes, if you are gay, he goes, I don't have a problem with that. He's like, I love you no matter what. And that's when the kind of conversation came up like, haven't you noticed there's more gay people now than there used to be?
Oh, they were always there. Yeah, they just didn't feel comfortable telling other people.
But the guy kind of says like, yeah, you got a point. And wasn't being homophobic about it. I think that was the first thing that came to his head. I was like, wow, there's a lot more gay people now than there used to be.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they've always been there. It's just now they feel comfortable actually allowing themselves to be public about it.
Yeah. What were you going to say? You started saying, don't tell your kid what?
I was just going to make fun of the way Ryan phrased that.
Oh, okay.
Well, he did. He straight up said he went to his son and said, hey, if you're gay, it's okay. It's fine.
No, I know. Yeah. About it. But earlier you said he went to his kid of undetermined age and said,
true.
if you like men, and I'm like, whoa.
No. Oh yeah. Some kid liking men.
Yeah.
Okay.
The candy truck is just fine.
I like vans. It's fine. There's no windows to distract me from things on the outside world.
Yeah.
Well, that'll about wrap it up for us this evening. We'll be moving into the Patreon portion of the show, where we will be talking about Pope Francis lying to a child about whether the child's atheist father, who has died and is dead now, is in heaven.
Pope don't lie.
Or in hell with all the other atheist sinners.
Isn't his whole deal based on lying to children?
Pretty
about death?
much.
I mean, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
And to get them in the back room.
Mm-hmm. So we'll be doing that story and also covering Jesse Lee Peterson saying that lesbians are not mentally capable of raising children, which will come as a huge surprise to two of my favorite people who I was the officiant for their wedding and are very dear, close friends of mine who are planning to have a child very soon.
Or even my sister who's raising twin boys.
Right, yeah. We're
on a farm.
On a farm. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, Tracy and I are trying to plan a trip with our friends. Like it's our last big hurrah before they get pregnant and have a child. We want to get together and go and do something.
And they're essentially
as adults
screwed for the rest of their life.
Yeah. Before they lock themselves into a 18+ year commitment.
Yeah, that's when you go on the trip and go, you know how good you guys got it right now? You're fucking yourself over.
Yeah, but two of my favorite people in the whole wide world are planning to have a child. The lesbian couple who I married, or who I was the officiant for their wedding, and so yeah, I'll have to explain to them that they're not mentally capable of having a child, according to Jesse Lee Peterson.
Yeah, because what we didn't know was that Jesse Lee Peterson has recently gotten a PhD in psychiatry.
Psychiatry.
Yeah,
I met that guy once.
That'll wrap it up for us this evening. But before we go, I want to make sure that we thank our Patreon supporters. That would be Vanessa,
Robato,
Michelle Short, Christy Kalbach,
Newmania,
Alan Firth,
Gaytheist,
Larry Wilson.
God damn it.
Say it.
Nope.
Say it.
Matt, Dr. Dan's boss from the TGR podcast, to whom he pledges loyalty.
Janet Utter.
Let the meat go Thuffy.
Stephen Andrus.
Jeff Peterson.
Marius Butrikowski.
Utah Outcasts.
Tim Jacobson.
Matt Tuller.
Megan Kennedy.
Andrew Vodopich.
Brandy Hamrick.
Jeremy Goodson.
Angelica Pearson.
Wesley Aaron.
Savita Kuna.
the Purple Dragon,
and Taylor Grin.
Thank you all so very much. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
If you would like to become a Patreon supporter, we would like you to do that. You can do it very easily by going to patreon.com/Godless Rebelution, where you can pledge as little as $1 per episode for all kinds of fun extras. I will be publishing within the next few days for our lovely Patreon supporters a Patreon exclusive. It's a talk delivered by Shannon Inglet, who actually is the ex-wife of like Small World and Fun, Fantastic, Interesting Things.
Bill?
No, Kevin. Kevin Newman, who we've had in the studio at least twice, maybe more, on the show with us. It's his ex-wife who...
Yeah, so just rub it in.
Who grew up in a polygamist family. I want to say cult, but I don't know for sure. And so I'm going to be releasing this to our Patreon supporters because we plan to eventually have her in studio, or at least in an episode with us. I don't know if she'll be here in studio or be calling in via Skype or whatever, but we will be interviewing her for more information about her fascinating and riveting story about growing up in a polygamist family here in Utah. So she recently spoke to, for Atheists of Utah. We host a monthly speaker event. And this month we had her on because April is, child harm awareness, child abuse awareness and prevention month. Jesus Christ. Sorry. It's late and, I'm almost done with my cocktail. But we had Shannon speak on Sunday, and she's a great speaker. It was a fantastic talk, and she's super smart and funny and nice. And so I recorded that, and we'll be releasing that as a patron-only episode here within the next couple of days, and then we will have her on the show in the near future to tell us more about that and her story, which is pretty interesting. I liked it very much. So we will be doing that, and it'll be a lot of fun. And so until next time, crucify the patriarchy.
Leave a review and a Christian will cry.
And rate the show 5 times a day toward Cobol. Peeking out crazy on this.
I know. I was trying to look at that, see who it is.
I think it's you.
I'm stepping back from the mic.
Check. Chugga,
chugga.
No, I think it's you. I think it's
me.
You, Dan.
Yeah, sorry.
Then my mom just posts a picture. It says, "This guy is funny. Me without a mustache."
Yeah, but looks aren't everything.
I'm gonna post that. I'm gonna say, "Fuck you guys. Looks aren't everything."
Oh, well, yeah. I meant it like in reference to you being looking funny.
Yeah.
But it still sounds funny.
Intellectual Eric prides himself on being a connoisseur of arts and creativity, from gravestones to ballet.
I think I'm well read. I think I'm well spoken. I think I'm well above average. It is important to me to carry myself in a manner where people are going to say, you know what? He knows what he's doing.
No, you don't. You don't know what you're doing.
We can do that, and
we should say something snappy like, "We'll be right back with the Patreon section, but first, let me give it the hard sell. Do atheists go to heaven?"
Yes. I like the plan.
Da, da, da.